Alright battlers, welcome back to a brand new Go Battle League video. In this video we're taking a look at Charizard as a lead in the Go Battle League. My first opponent for this video, trainers, is none other than the Nut93, one of the best players in Europe. This match is so crazy. I lead that shiny Charizard into Cresselia and you can tell right away that it's running Psycho Cut because of how fast it's moving. So the confusion damage isn't going to be there. You're not going to get chunked down by fast moves, but it will get to its charge moves very quickly. I'm expecting a Future Sight or Aurora Beam, and it is Future Sight, and that was the first time my Charizard has taken that, and I just learned how much damage it did. In comes my Weavile here, and here, trainers, I remember the last second that it can also learn Moonblast. So as a Dark-type Pokemon, you do not want to get hit by Fairy-type Moonblast. I do fire off the Foul Play, and the Nut decides to shield. These Ice Shards are slowly but surely chipping down. Cresselia is such a bulky, awesome Pokemon to use. In comes Swampert here, and I am watching that switch timer, trainers, because I want my Weavile out of this battle as quickly as possible. We try to get out before the Hydro Cannon, but we're going to have to tank this one. Weavile is glassy, but it does survive. I come in here with Kangaskhan. Shout out to Hierovange again for recommending Big Kanga. This thing is such a monster. We actually go for the Power Up Punch here to force the Nut to either shield or lose the Swampert, and he decides to shield, so that's wonderful news for us. We took that second shield from the Nut. Here comes another charge move, trainers, and in comes the big, the bad, the ugly Giratina origin form. That was a missed opportunity, trainers. I was really scared about the Shadow Claw damage, but again, as you commented in my video last time, I don't really have to worry about ghost type attacks with the normal type Kangaskhan. Shadow Claw definitely included there. So I bring out Charizard here, and he is going to Shadow Ball Charizard into Oblivion, and it is all up to Weavile. Weavile is going to fire off the Foul Play here and take down the Giratina. In comes Cresselia, and the Ice Shards are just enough to do it. Such a crazy match. GG's the Nut93. Going into this game, we face off against Spazy, I believe is the name. I lead that Charizard into a Alolan Muck. So this is an interesting matchup. I don't want to get hit by a Dark Pulse, and as you can see there, I switched out my team. Now I have Weavile and Venusaur in the back. I think with Charizard, it's such a great strategy to just go straight Blast Burn. So you only get that one Fire Spin extra worth of energy if you bait with the Dragon Claw, and sometimes that can make a big difference, but if they do not shield the Blast Burn, trainers, they are in big trouble. So I do fire off the Foul Play against the Venusaur, taking that second shield, which is really great news for us. Again, Weavile, very glassy. Frenzy Plant brings it down, but I have that mighty Charizard, and the shields are down. Charizard is ready to burn through this entire team. I do go here for the Blast Burn. I might have been able to get away with Dragon Claw there. I'm not sure. Let me know down in the comments below. In comes Cresselia again. This one is running Confusion, though, so I don't have to be very concerned with how quickly it gets to its charge moves, but I do need to be careful all the same. I do fire off that Blast Burn, take a huge chunk out of Cresselia, and here, trainers, I'm pushing for one more Blast Burn. We do shield that Aurora Beam, and I'm not sure if we get there, but I store up that energy with my Venusaur, and this is not a stab move because Cresselia is not an Ice type, so we are able to survive that Aurora Beam, fire off our Frenzy Plant to bring down Cresselia. Out comes that Alolan Muck, and as you remember, battlers, I do have that Charizard with the Blast Burn ready. So Venusaur goes down, in comes Big Zard. Lag, but eventually we get there and we get our Blast Burn, which I was pounding my screen. Trainers, the lag in Go Battle League can be such a pain in the butt, but we lucked out that time. Going to this game, I leave with that Charizard again with my little buddy Weavile, and I do have Swampert in the back. So another great starter Pokemon I'm sure you've heard of. Here comes a Purified Venusaur, in comes Cloyster. Cloyster is a Ice and Water type, kind of similar to Lapras, but you do have to be very careful of that Icy Wind. At this point, trainers, I think it's an Icy Wind, but I'm just trying to be sure. I do shield up the Icy Wind here, and because of the buff and debuff, I'm going to swap out soon, but look at this. We earn that second shield, which is wonderful news for us. I'm expecting another Icy Wind, so I do not shield Weavile. It is not very effective. Weavile is going to try to put in some work here with the Foul Play. Not going to be very effective against Cloyster. Cloyster is such a bulky Pokemon in Ultra League. I really would like to try it. I always found it a little glassy for Great League, but with the Icy Wind buff and everything else, it's a lot of fun. So I tried to Ice Shard down, but my attack has been dropped by 2 stages, so I have to fire off the Foul Play. In comes Giratina. So I have Charizard, and I have my Swampert, and that Venusaur is in the back, so I go right here for the Swampert. Swampert is such a great Pokemon against Giratina Altered form because it can tank whatever moves. In comes Venusaur here, trainers, and I barely get to the Blast Burn. I was concerned about a Sludge Bomb there, but very clutch by Charizard. Its attack stat is so high, even if that was a CMP tie, we probably would have won that probably 9 out of 10 times or more because of the attack stat itself. So this Giratina is going to fire off the Ancient Power, which is what I expected. No boost, which is really good for us, and Swampert is going to clean up with an Earthquake and then a few Mud Shots. We still have a shield though, trainers, and we're going to burn the shield. Why not? Just to secure the win. Mud Shot down for the W. We are going up against 100k Collector. In this game, this one is a lot of fun, trainers. I do decide to lead Charizard, and here comes another Venusaur. So Venusaur is a wonderful lead in the Go Battle League, especially with all the Togekiss running around and the Swampert leads, but Charizard is the anti-lead, if you will. So here I'm expecting an Ancient Power, but it's just the Dragon Claw, so probably could have tanked that, but in comes Weavile, and remember, this Giratina is part Dragon, so these Ice Shards are going to do a little bit of work. That Dragon Claw, it isn't going to do a lot. If you're playing against a Weavile battlers, you definitely want to go for the Ancient Power. That is definitely the right move. So here comes another Pokemon. It will be Venusaur. So trying to get to this Avalanche, and we just barely pull it off. This will get us a shield. The stab damage and high attack stat from Weavile would drop this Venusaur if the Avalanche landed. So the Frenzy Plant's going to bring us down. But again, just like the last game we saw, I do have my Charizard ready to go. In comes Alolan Muck, as we saw previously in the video, and here, I had an opportunity to go up for Earthquake and Bluff, but I fired off that Hydro Cannon, maybe a little too quick to jump the gun on my part there. But again, trying to get to another Hydro Cannon here, and Snarl is fast, but Mud Shot Swampert is faster. So we bring down the Alolan Muck. My opponent is trying to overfarm here. I realize what he's trying to do. He wants to get to a couple of Frenzy Plants to burst through that shield, but I do force my opponent's final shield, which is really, really great. I go here for the Dragon Claw because I'm expecting a double charge move from Venusaur. Dragon Claw is not enough. Here we actually decide to shield, and it will be the Sludge Bomb, so good thing it wasn't the Frenzy Plant bait, but either way, Fire Spins for the win. Going to this game, trainers, I do decide to lead my mighty Charizard again. Leave a like for the Charizard lead, trainers. I'm having so much fun with it. Here comes another Charizard lead. So in this matchup, trainers, I did study this one a little bit. If you go straight Blast Burn, you will lose if your opponent shields. However, my opponent did not shield, and then I make a great swap here into Swampert to catch that Blast Burn, which is really nice. In comes the Togekiss, and even though this is going to be a pretty quick one and done for Swampert here, I am still very happy that I was able to catch the Blast Burn. We actually get to another Hydro Cannon, which is really great because then we force the shield. Togekiss versus Swampert. So you need 3 Hydro Cannons from Swampert because that Mud Shot doesn't do hardly any damage at all. But I do have my Mighty Steelix here, and predicting a Flamethrower, I do shield, but it's just the Ancient Power. So again, an opportunity there for my opponent to maybe close the match. If your opponent does not shield that, you're going to be in trouble. I do leave a little bit of Togekiss left over by undercharging the Heavy Slam, just so I can get a Fire Spin worth of energy. In comes Giratina, trainers, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the right thing to do is double Dragon Claw here, just because it's super effective and it's a little more energy efficient than the Blast Burn. So that's probably what I should have done and what I'll do in the future. Giratina brings down Zard, and in comes Steelix. It is Steelix against the world. Shadow Sneak is a move I haven't seen a lot on Giratina, but it does do some great damage. My opponent is lagging, so out of courtesy, I did stop attacking there for a moment, and when they came back, I started attacking again. So I haven't been getting Airplane very often. I know Hierovane has been pretty vocal about that online and trying to get Niantic to correct the problems, because I think it's very important for Go Battle League to roll out smoothly so that we can continue to move this game towards a competitive esport. So in this last game, trainers, I go up against CCO. This is one of the best trainers in Canada, and this is a crazy, crazy game, trainers. We just went 5-0, and this is not going to end how we want it to, but it's such a nail biter. We fire off the Blast Burn here against the Togekiss, and we do force that first shield, which is really great for us. In comes what I expect to be Ancient Power, and it is. Firing off a few more Fire Spins here, and I go for a double Blast Burn. I'm really trying to call his bluff, but he does double shield Togekiss. My Charizard is getting very weak, so I swap here into my Steelix. Now, this is an opportunity for me to shield trainers, but I do not. I take that flamethrower. In comes Registeel, and if I had Earthquake on my Steelix, this probably would have wrapped up much, much quicker, but I don't. So I have to go here for the crunch against the Registeel. I just wish I could have Earthquaked this thing. Anytime you see a Registeel, you just want to put an end to it. Whether you Blast Burn it, or you counter it down, or you Earthquake it, it's always fun to put an end to Registeel. But unfortunately, we are firing off multiple crunches, and we are just dinging this silver trash can here. I do bring in Charizard, and I really want to get the Blast Burn off, and Lock On only does 1 damage per turn, but in comes Togekiss, and he deletes us with Charm. Very, very nice play. Deletes Steelix. In comes my last Pokemon, Swampert, attempting to farm down there, but I got really wary, and I fired off the Hydro Cannon. In comes my opponent's Alolan Sandslash, which is something that House Stark recommended. You run Alolan Sandslash as a great anti-flyer and a solid ice type, but Earthquake is going to wreck it, and I know it needs at least 4 Powder Snows to get to the Ice Punch, so I timed it there to get some extra energy. In comes a Registeel, and I fire off the Hydro Cannon. Trainers, will it be enough? It is not. Here comes an attack from Registeel. Will this be enough? It is not, trainers. 1 mud shot, 1 lock on, GG CCO. What an intense match. Trainers, if you enjoyed this video, if you like my new intro, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate it so much. You guys are awesome, and you're the reason I do this. Please leave me a like, comment down below, and then subscribe if you really enjoyed it and you want to see more videos.